Hey guys, it's Matt here. It is Halloween day, October 31st, 2025. This is the last video I'm going to squeeze in for this month. I am one video short of my usual 8 videos. This is my 7th one, I believe, of the month. I've been very busy lately. I've got jury duty later on today. So I have spent all morning conducting this top 70 videos of 1975. As it always takes me so long to do these top, albums of a certain year shows. So I want to start now. I got too many things in front of me. So as usual, I spent all my time finding these CDs with no time to prepare what I'm going to say. So there's a few albums I could not find. Chief among them was Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. You may say, well, why didn't I just Xerox it off like I do other albums? Because I've already done an Alice Cooper show this year. You know I like that album. It would have made my top 30. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. And there was, I don't remember what else I couldn't, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I can't remember what else. Yeah. Anyways, so that plays into it, if I can find the album or not. So oftentimes I'll just, if I'm early in the morning when I just started, I'll go to Discogs and I'll print out the album cover and stick it in a CDR plastic holder and show it to you. But I get tired after I'm doing this for like 2 hours. So anyways, I'm going to start here with number 1. Now I went round and round in this. In fact, what I probably should do is tell you that these two albums are tied. Born to Run by the boy Bruce Springsteen, the up-and-coming rocker, and Blood on the Tracks by the old sage OG Bob Dylan. Born to Run, of course, this is his first great album, although Springsteen is such an icon now that, the first 2 albums are considered classics too, really. Every Springsteen album in the 70s and the 80s was an event, really. And even if it wasn't seen that way at the time, it has come to be seen. Those albums have come to be seen that way now. So Born to Run, chock full of classic songs. Don't know if arguably he ever made an album better than this. This is him with Clarence Clemons on the front, the late Clarence Clemons. But of course, he's been around for so long now, Bruce. There's a movie coming out about him, which I think just came out. He's been on Broadway talking, doing his show for a while. He wrote a book that to pick Born to Run as the best Springsteen album might just be, the best young Bruce album. And there's middle-aged Bruce and there's older Bruce, and so on and so forth. So that's that. Blood on the Tracks is Dylan's, this is the SACD, famous divorce album, where he's divorcing Sarah, and this is just as good as Born to Run. Every track on here is stellar. He hadn't seemed this important since the 60s, since the mid to late. This is a better album than, well, it's for sure better than Nashville Skyline. It's better than John Wesley Harding, I think. You really have to go back to Blonde on Blonde to find a Dylan album as good as this. So there you are, Blood on the Tracks. This is the best thing he did in the 1970s. Just like Born to Run is the best thing that Bruce did in that decade. Okay, number 3, following so close behind Blood on the Tracks, is the Basement Tapes. I love this album. There's times I'll tell you I like this album more than Blood on the Tracks. I only put Blood on the Tracks above this is because that's a true 1975 album, even though it was completed in 74. The Dylan songs on here are from 67 when he was recording with the Hawks, who would become the band, and the band songs on here, i.e. the songs not sung by Bob Dylan, are recorded after that fact. I never could get it quite straight when these were recorded, when the band tracks on here were recorded, although I'd love it if someone would tell me in the comments. But this is a 5-star album. Now folks, I'm a Basement Tapes junkie. I read that Greil Marcus book. I have various bootlegs of all of the recordings of these sessions before the official bootleg series came out. And I think I still have some songs on bootleg that aren't on that official box, though. I'll have to look again. But I actually actually like this the best. I actually like this double album with the, subsequent band recordings better than better than any kind of overview of all the stuff that they recorded in that house in Big Pink. So a 5-star classic. All right. There's a 3. Okay, 4. How I wish you were here. Is this a classic album or what? You can shout it out. 2 lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year. This is as good as any rock album made that year. This is my old Sony Master Sound. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, 1975. Of course, I've got this album numerous times. I've got it in the Shine On box set. I've got the big Immersion box, but this was easily able to grab, so I did. Wall-to-wall classics, played to death on the radio. We have not had anything less than a 5-star album so far. This is number 4. Number 5, ditto. Physical Graffiti. I notice I can't find my Zeppelin CDs. So this is one. This was the first one that I, Xeroxed off from Discogs. I couldn't find I think every Zeppelin CD I've shown you on these, top albums of the year videos I've had to Xerox off from Discogs. I'll have to do Presents when I do 76 as well. Anyways, this is a double album, the only double album, studio album that Zeppelin ever did. The same next year, of course, they do the Song Man, the same live soundtrack. This album is a lot of this stuff was recorded, from like 72, 73. So they're not all modern day recordings, but it's still a classic. I would resequence this album when I play. I think it's too front loaded. I think all the songs on the first LP are classic. Most of the songs on the second LP are pretty good, but I think I could have gotten a better sequencing if I would have come up with, with my version of this album. But who cares? There's nothing less than a really good song on here. So. Physical Graffiti, this is the last time Led Zeppelin would release an album this good. I like Presents. I like Into the Outdoor, but this is the last one that you go, wow, this is like one of the truly great bands of this time. All right, that's 5. Yeah, that's my top 5. Pretty good if I do say so myself. All right, number 6 is Fleetwood Mac, another wall-to-wall classics album. If you don't think that Rumors is their best album, it's probably this one, unless you're really prone to the, Peter Green era or the post-Peter Green, pre-Buckingham Nicks era, as some Mac fans are, but I mean, I'm American, I grew up with this stuff all over the radio, this was inescapable, not to the point that Rumors would be 2 years later, but I mean, there's not a bad song on here, there's not even a mediocre song on here. Some of the stuff on here, was going to be on the second Buckingham Nicks album. In fact, one of these songs on here was on the first Buckingham Nicks album. What was it? Wow, why can't I think of that? Was it Crystal? Oh, well. That's Matt, folks. He can't remember yesterday, much less something he read a long time ago. But this is another 5-star classic. These albums are unimpeachable so far. I mean, this is why I think that 1975 was a better year than 74. 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7. Katie lied. Couldn't find. Well, it's not that I couldn't find this one, but I did Xerox it off. I've told you guys before, all of my Steely Dan albums are on the Citizen Dan, is that what it's called? Box set. So whenever I want to show you a Steely Dan album, I gotta Xerox it off. I do have to think of an old Mo-Fi version of Asia, which I'll show you. But I love this album. I probably like this Steely Dan album more than most people because look, I mean, it makes my top 10. See, any album that they released in the 70s is like a classic, well worth your time. But I think that this one holds up better than, I like this one more than Pretzel Logic, to be honest with you. So there you go. Katie lied. All right, so that must have been 7 because I got 3 more. 8 is Horses, Patti Smith, the punk poet. Now, a lot of people listen to this album and they go, wow, that's not punk music. Guys, you need to put yourself in the mindset New York punk in the 70s. This is pre-Sex Pistols, it's pre-Clash, or at least pre-Sex Pistols and Clash before they were, recording and releasing vinyl. Punk was a mindset, it was an attitude, it was not a sound, So it hadn't been codified yet to where it had to have, shouting lyrics and electric guitars and be short and fast. So Patti Smith played the same clubs as everybody else in New York at that time. This is a great record. It's like she got her little garage band there with Lenny Kaye. I love the whole thing. I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years about Patti Smith, and she seems to be very polarizing. I seem to be into her more than most people. Even women, I'm surprised they don't seem to like her, but fuck, I love Patti Smith. So, and this is her masterpiece, although this was not the only great album she made. So you're gonna see her more on my year videos as we finish the 70s. All right, Horses. Okay, this one I'm sure I'll get, what the hell is he thinking? For putting Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic so high. But guys, I'm a classic rocker. I mean, this 75, I was 10 years old in 75. I probably owned this album at that time. If not, I had it by 76 when Rocks came out. I remember all this stuff, I didn't own Patti Smith when I was 10 years old, but we had this and Elton John, and so this is in my DNA. I love this. This is cool to show you because this is, oh no, this is just the one from the box set. I couldn't find I have this album in surround. It's out of print now. It's worth a pretty penny, but there's not a bad track on here, and most of the stuff on here is great. And I love the prior Aerosmith albums, but this is the first classic. American hard rock didn't get any better than this at the time, So, yeah, that's my number 9 album from 1975. My number 10, just squeaking in. I'm a big Elton John guy. This just came out. I haven't even played this yet. This is the surround sound version of Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This is the Elton and Bernie's little story about how they made it and how they became famous. It's kind of a concept album. This is one of Elton's better records. It's better than, what do you do in 74? Caribou? Can't even remember now. He hadn't made an album this good when this came out since Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So yeah, this is among most people's favorite Elton John album. Oh, can I show you guys? I was wearing my Elevator shirt. See if they're on my phone. So there you are. That's my top 10. And again, I always say in these videos, guys, don't get too hung up on the ranking. All right? When I'm ranking these albums and I'm pulling them out and I'm thinking about them, because I have a list prepared, I'm changing the order, and like I'll pull out an album and I'll go, oh, you know what? This is a better album than I thought it was. I'm going to put it 20 places higher. It doesn't really matter how I rank the albums in terms of the numbers, as long as I'm showing it to you on this video. Some of the albums I'm going to be showing you closer to 70 are, you might say, well, that's just as good as what he had in his top 10. And maybe it is on any other given day. This is how I'm ranking them today, Halloween 2025. Okay, let's look at 11 through 20. As I'm always telling you guys, these are the albums that narrowly missed the top 10. On another day, some of these albums could have made the top 10. Tonight's the night, do-do-do-do. Tonight's the night. This one is better albums, I think. Neil Young has this totally like down kind of dour mindset. He had Bruce Berry, his roadie, had died. Danny Whitten had died from Crazy Horse. There's not that many outstanding songs on here which we know as famous Neil Young songs, but the whole album works as a whole, the way that Exile on Main Street might work, or R.E.M's Murmur might work, where it all functions as a unit. And that's how I see. This was recorded, I think, in 73. He just didn't release it till 75. So in that sense, it's kind of like Dylan's Basement Tapes. Music had been recorded earlier, but was released at the time. This is pretty much a 5-star album. And Zuma is going to be on here too, because that's another great album. Okay, so 11-12 is Coney Island Baby. Y'all know I'm a big Lou Reed fan. I almost included Lou Reed live, but I just figured, you know, I'm trying to save space for other artists. There's a few artists today that on this show that release more than one album, but I just picked one of them because, even though I like both of them, because I'm trying to save space and not be so obvious. But I love this. To me, this is classic Lou Reed. Coney Island Baby. For years I thought this was 76, but it is indeed 1975. I think I've had a Lou Reed album every year since I've been doing this. I mean, he didn't do all those Velvets albums, of course. In 71 he didn't do anything, but in 72 Transformer, 73 Berlin, 74 Rock and Roll Animal, 75 Coney Island Baby. Love me some Lou. Okay, that's 12. 13. Still crazy after all these years. If There Goes Ryman Simon is my favorite Paul Simon album, this might be my second. I know that people think that his first album is a classic too. This is just from the box set that has all of his albums from the 20th century remastered. I'm looking at the back here, Gone at Last, the title track, My Little Town, that was a big hit, his reunion with Art. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I mean, yeah. There's even a demo of Slip Sliding Away on here. You should get this, folks. All right. 11, 12, 13, 14. As I'm always telling you folks, I am nothing if not a Grateful Dead fan, a Deadhead. Blues for Allah. This is a solid record. Probably the best album they made in the mid-70s. This is the new surround sound version. I love it. Yeah, there's filler on here. There's filler on pretty much any Dead album. But I don't care. I like the filler. And the opening, tracks of Help on the Way, Slipknot, Franklin's Tower, King Solomon's Marbles, which is the instrumental. The Music Never Stops, Crazy Fingers. That stuff is unbeatable. All those songs in a row. All right. What was that, 15? 13, 14, 15. Venus and Mars. Yep. I like me some Paul McCartney and Wings. John's album this year was the Rock and Roll record, and I'm not a huge fan of that. This is a much better album. I don't think Paul had released an album this good since Band on the Run a couple years prior. This is the old Steve Hoffman DCC version. I like virtually everything on here. Since Band on the Run is just a Paul, Denny, and Linda album, this might be my favorite album that has the Wings name on it. Because, Ram is just Paul and Linda. So this might be my favorite Wings album. All right. Okay, that's 15. 3, 4, 5, 16. I told you it was coming up. Zuma. This is Neil's real 1975 album, since the other one was recorded in 73. He does this with Crazy Horse as I'm pretty sure Tonight's the Night was, right? So a lot of Neil's best albums are with Crazy Horse. He would not make a better album than this till 79, until Live Rust. So there you go, folks. Zuma. Classic Neil. All right. 16, 17. Let's get some prog in here. Here's Freehand. Now, you guys know I'm a big Jelly Giant fan. I love all their stuff up through 1977. Not so much The Missing Hand, but that's okay. But I like Playing the Fool that year. This is another great album. I mean, I don't know how it ranks, since I like them all. I said earlier, I don't know if they have a 5-star album, but, this is as good as prog got in 1975. Okay? And we're going to follow that with, what is it, 17, I guess? I don't know what it is, actually. Hawkwind. This is the surround sound box, Stephen Wilson mix of Warrior on the Edge of Time. Many people feel this is the best Hawkwind album, or at least the last great one. I tend to like anything that band did in the 70s, so I don't know if I have I guess the live one is my favorite one. But You won't go wrong with Warrior on the Edge of Time. And we'll finish our little prog triptych with Camel's Snow Goose. Music inspired by the Snow Goose. This is an instrumental album, which is fine with me because I always felt that Camel was better as an instrumental band than they were as in terms of their vocals. This is a great record. It's really listener friendly. This is the SACD Japanese. Listener friendly prog. Put this on like in the background as you're doing housework, as I was doing today, you know, when I was looking for all these CDs, although I didn't play this. But it'll grow on you, it'll sink in. Snow Goose, one of their finest achievements. That's not the last prog album I'll be showing you today. Anyways, and number 20, right? Sabotage. The last of the truly classic Black Sabbath albums, although, you know, I like the next two as well. Technically, Ecstasy being a bit better than Never Say Die, but, you know, this was the end of, much like Led Zeppelin. Sabbath's classic run was from 70 to 75. Zeppelin's classic run was from 69 to 75, where every album counts. Every album's a killer. Debatable which one is the best. You know, Sabotage, as I've said before, it might be my least favorite of the classic run, but it's still a great album. Look, it's my number 20 favorite album of that year. I wouldn't want to dress like these guys do, but hell, the music's kick-ass. All right, that is my 11 through 20. Let's do 21 through 30. See, I'm just moving these little stacks around. All right, 21. Y'all know I'm into some Willie. Okay, Willie Nelson. I won on one country show, and that was on Johnny Cash. It did okay, actually. It surprised me, the numbers. But if I was going to do another one, it probably would be Willie Nelson. Only he has so... I need more light in this room. He has so many albums that even to do Willie in the 60s and the 70s, that would be so many albums I'd have to print the freaking LP, you know, covers off of from online, because I have Bear Family box sets, you know, and that's how I have a lot of my Willie Nelson albums. But from the 70s, though, I think I own every one, except for this Christmas album he did in 79. But this is one of his greatest ever achievements. This is the third year in a row I've shown you a Willie Nelson album. Red-Headed Stranger is considered by me to be his best record. So it's a country classic, as it says there. All right? It's kind of like a concept album, too. That's 21. 22. Joni Mitchell. Just did my Joni show. Did quite well. Hissing of Summer Lawns. Just another in a long line of great Joni Mitchell records. She was on top of the world at this time. And, you know, she was the most famous female singer-songwriter, and you can almost take the word female out of that. This is an experimental record for her. It's more jazzy the way that Court and Spark was, but in not as listener-friendly as Court and Spark. I got to hold that way because it's kind of shading my face. All right, so Hissing of Summer Lawns, that's number 22. 23 is getting some reggae. Burning Spear. Marcus Garvey has come to town. I used to play this a lot when I was in college. You know, the old cliche of the white frat boys in the 80s being into reggae and Bob Marley. That was me. I'm not going to deny it. That trope was true for me. That's why I was listening to all my reggae. I did not own any reggae albums in the 70s. I was too young. They did not play this on the radio, which began to hear it everywhere in the 80s. And once I did my, I passed my Bob Marley phase, I started getting into other classic reggae albums in the 70s. This was one of them. This is probably Burning Spear's greatest album, you know. And then you have, isn't there a dub album after this? I can't tell. Oh well. It's great. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. 23, 24. My favorite Eno record, Another Green World. I like this better than I like Siren by Roxy Music, which I'll have later. Yeah, this is when I almost began to shift allegiances from one Brian to another, you know. But also, you know, Brian Eno began to do those ambient albums where he kind of lost me. I bought a few, kept thinking they were going to grow on me. They didn't really. So I do like his, what would you call this? Rock pop albums, progressive sounding, but not prog. I like all three that he did in the 70s, but this is my favorite. Another Green World. That's 24. 25. Parliament Mothership Connection. I think they also did Chocolate City this year, didn't they? But I'm showing you this because this was a classic. When I was growing up, we used to play this. Yeah, again, this is Parliament and, well, P-Funk in general, Funkadelic too, is another band I missed out on at the time, but got into in the 80s when I was in college. You know, I was one of those guys who used to be in the room, you know, smoking and putting this on and this and the Grateful Dead. And yeah, I mean, it's almost coming from the same place, but because these guys are black hippies, you know, George Clinton. And you can get lost in the P-Funk world because there's so many albums by Parliament and Funkadelic in the 70s, and they're all pretty good. This, I think, is a highlight, though. All right. That's 25. 26. People are saying, Matt, this should be in the top 10. Queen, A Night at the Opera. I remember when this came out. I remember when Bohemian Rhapsody was a hit song for the first time. This is all good. I mean, if you're going to pick this is the old Mo-Fi version. If you're going to pick a favorite Queen album, might as well be this one, right? I think probably more songs that are famous or come from this album than any. I mean, even the lesser known tracks are great. Death on Two Legs, Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon, kind of sounds like the Kinks, right? I'm in love with my car. Yeah. You're My Best Friend was all over the radio. Sweet Lady, Seaside Rendezvous, Prophet Song, that's Brian. And then, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody. All right, so that was 26. 27, perhaps I'm rating this high. I told you I was going to be putting this Boys to Cold album in my 75. I love this. This, to me, this is On Your Feet or On Your Knees. This is a perfect encapsulation of the black and white era of their first three albums with the black and white covers. It's not recorded that well, but I don't care. I mean, I used to blast this. It's a double album, you know, another from the era of the classic double live LP. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like Aerosmith, maybe I'm rating this too high, but this is the young Matt, you know, still living in the old Matt body, thinking of what I used to love, you know, and I still love it. All right, so there you go. Okay, what do we got? Three more? So that must have been 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it was 27. 28 is Blow by Blow. Guys, I love Jeff Beck more than anyone I personally know. I'm sure there's bigger Jeff Beck fans out there, but this is where he went fusion. But I love it. It's a more mellow kind of album, you know, than what he had. Because I mean, he had just finished with Beck Bogert and a Peace or whatever. So this was a total 180 for him. But I love this record. I played it to death. This and Wired. You know, on another day, this would be in my top 10. Yes, this would. All right. Okay. Just to show you that I have grown in the last 50 years, you want to know what I was playing more than any other album when I was 10 years old? Kiss Alive. There was a time, guys, that I knew every note of this album. You could have dropped the needle on the vinyl for a second, for 1001, and taken it off, and I could have told you what song was playing. And I pretty much think, without exception, every song on here is better than its studio counterpart. And I like the first three Kiss albums. In fact, I'm going to have Dress to Kill on this show later on. But Kiss Alive that's what made that generation of Kiss fans, and I was among the first generation. That's what made us love them. All right? Okay. Wow. I guess we're number 30. Okay, this is Steve Harley in Cockney Rebel, Best Years of Our Lives. It kind of sounds slightly Bowie-esque, only I like this album better than Young Americans. All right, I don't know a whole lot about Steve Harley, but this is the best album of his that I've heard. This just came out in Surround not too long ago. Sounds great. He never really made it in America. His name is not that big here, but you know, ask the Brits about Steve Harley, and they'll tell you. So this is a very fine record, and it is my top 30 choice in 75. All right, moving on. Move the phone there. This is 31 through 40. We've got Zappa. One size fits all. This is the surround sound version. This is kind of like Led Zeppelin. This is like the last, and Black Sabbath. This is the last Zappa album I feel of this quality to be released in the 70s. I like plenty of, you know, subsequent Zappa records, but I love this one. This one, Apostrophe, Overnight Sensation, Waka Jwaka, Grandma Zoo, was this series of records I just loved. You could probably fit Bongo Fury in there too, but I'm not putting Bongo Fury on this show. I just put it in my Captain Beefheart show. I'm sure it was on my Zappa show too. That was a year ago, though I don't remember. But this one is this is a classic Zappa record to me. This just came out, by the way. Okay, that's 31. 32. The Who by Numbers. This may not be a classic Who album, but we love it. I mean, we Who fans, Slip Kid, However Much I Booze, Squeeze Box, Shooting From the Waist, Blue, Red, and Gray. I love all those songs, you know. And this is the last one. Again, this is another one of those albums. This is the last one that they probably never made an album as good as this again, you know. So there you go. 75 was like the last year that a lot of great bands would make an album of this quality. Okay, 31, 32. 33 is Siren. Probably should have had this higher. So that's what I'm saying. Don't trip about the ratings. This is a great album. This has Love With a Drug. I think this is probably a more popular album with Americans than it is Brits, who seem to prefer the first four. But to me, this is the last great one until Avalon. Right? The next two are fine. But, hey, watch my Roxy show for further elucidation. All right. That's 33. 34. Some would say I'm rating this album kind of high. This is Scheherazade by Renaissance. I'm not putting this as the Steve Hoffman version. I'm not putting a lot of Renaissance discs on here, on these shows, but I like them better than you might think. I don't know. I don't have enough Renaissance to do a show on them, but the best Renaissance albums are as good as virtually any prog albums. So there you are. Scheherazade and Other Stories. All right. 2, 3, 4. Young Americans, she want the young. Okay, this is just from the box set. But I like Young Americans, but I don't love it. As you can see by my rating, 1, 2, 3, 4, 35. I like it enough, though. I mean, you know, it's in the top half of my 70 albums. He did an album before this that he did not release. It's on the box set called the Gloucester, something like that. I can't remember. Which, I don't know if I like it better than this, but it's significantly different. And it's got songs on there that are not on here. But this is his Philly soul phase. You know, which I like Diamond Dogs better in 74. I like, of course, Station to Station better in 76. But this is fine. I'd say this is kind of mid-period Bowie, like mid-level Bowie. But mid-level Bowie is still freaking great. All right, that's 35. 36, rating is probably a little high, but I don't care. This is John Fogerty. This is one of those albums I will trumpet because people don't really know this record. If you love CCR, pick this up. This is a better album, for instance, than Mardi Gras. It's at least as good as Pendulum, you know. It's called John Fogerty, 1975. I did a CCR show. I don't know if I talked too much more about this there, but I do like it, and it sounds just like CCR, I think, anyway. All right, so that was 36. 37 is Fandango. Now, I'm putting this here. This is, you know, half studio, half live. The live stuff's pretty good, but not that great. The studio stuff, though, is pretty much on par with what's on Tres Hombres. So I love it. Balinese, Mexican Blackboard. Heard it on the X. I love that one. Tush. Yep. Fandango, from a time when ZZ Top was like, they weren't that well known, but you did hear them on the radio though, and they got more and more popular as the 70s wore on. Okay, this is going to be 38, I guess. Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery. This is one of the better Tull records, I think. This, like Blues for Allah for the Dead, this is the best mid-70s Tull album. I probably should have ranked this higher than I'm doing, but again, I'm not going to trip about my own rankings. I like virtually everything on here. All right, they wouldn't make a better album again until 2 years later when Songs from the Wood came out. Okay, and then 39, Main Chorus by the Bee Gees. I've been neglecting Bee Gees records since the 60s. I probably should have had Trafalgar in 74. I've never heard Cucumber Castle, so I don't. People like that one too. But Main Chorus is like, they're starting into their disco phase. The one from 74 is pretty good too. But this one's got Nights on Broadway, Jive Talkin', which of course were on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which everyone owned. But I think Main Chorus is one of their better 70s albums. Okay, for number 40, it's going to be Tangerine Dream. I took the In Search of Hades book out because, again, like so many of the box sets I own, they don't bother to reproduce the CD, the LP covers on CD. I'm doing Rubicon. All right, now when I'm in the mood, only Tangerine Dream will do. This box set here is it's in surround, and you put it on, imbibe or drink as you, whatever of your choice, and it's trippy stuff. I like it. I kind of never grew out of this kind of stuff. It's kind of post hippie, post 60s, but progressive in the 70s sense, but still stonery kind of music. And I can almost recommend any Tangerine Dream album from the 70s, but Rubicon is one of the better ones, and one of the first ones I ever bought of theirs too, so it's kind of special to me. Okay, so there you go. That's my top 40 at 37 minutes. Whew, it's kind of taking a while, isn't it? Okay, here's 41 through 50. 41 is Nothing Fancy about Leonard Skinner. This is nothing fancy, but it's still pretty good. Any Skinner album from the 70s is worth your time. This one's got Saturday Night Special, On the Hunt, Am I Losing, Made in the Shade, Whiskey Rock and Roller. Those are great Skinner songs. Probably should have ranked it higher. All right, that's 41. 42. Another box set I'm using is the Van de Graaff Generator one to show you God Bluff. God Bluff was their first album since 1971. It's great. It's in surround. It's probably, it is in the top 5 best Van de Graaff Generator albums. Whether it's better than Still Life, I think it is. But, people would disagree. But, yeah, I think that it's awesome. God Bluff. All right, and that was 42. 43, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Folks, the 70s was the era of hard rock, and I'm not showing you that many hard rock or metal albums, but I could be showing you a lot more, but I've had mixed success with my hard rock or metal videos. I did have great success though with my Deep Purple / Rainbow show, so I know I can show you guys this and you'd be like, yeah, Blackmore. This is good. Rising the next year, it's even better. All right. 43. 44 is Kansas. Song for America. Mask came out the same year. I like that album too. I think it's some better though. This has some of Kansas's better material on it. Leftoverture from the next year will be their big, breakthrough, and then Point of No Return. But this might be their 3rd best album. This is American prog, and it works for me. I don't know how many Brits are into this, but we liked it at the time. In fact, we loved it. So 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Again, I might be rating this kind of high. It just came out in surround. Hot Tuna's America's Choice. I think they had another album this year too. I'm a big Hot Tuna guy. I don't know if I've been showing you enough Hot Tuna albums on my, year videos. Burgers is my favorite one. The first two are good too, but I like pretty much all of them. So America's Choice 75, that's Jorma Kaukonen and Jack Cassidy. 4, 5, 46 is UFO Force It. Again, guys, we're in the Michael Schenker era, and I like all these albums. Schenker was like a hero of mine when I was a kid. I did not own this album in 75, though. They weren't really playing this stuff on the radio, but it wasn't too long after I got into UFO. But I don't know if I have a favorite UFO album. They're all, the ones with Schenker, I keep pressing the phone. The ones with Schenker are all good. So this is just one more really good one, and there will be more to come. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, that's not good. Kind of lost count of where I am. Kiss, Dressed to Kill. I could be putting this too high, but I don't care. Again, this is my childhood coming back to Spit in Your Face. This is a sludgy recorded album, but the songs are good. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I was eating up when I was 10 years old, So I'm still fond of it. And then next, okay, I have to keep the count going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, good. Okay, so this is 48. This is Little Feat, the last record album. Like other bands I've shown you, this is their last good record for a while. Well, the live album's great after this, but not as good as Feats Don't Fail Me Now, or Dixie Chicken, or Sailing Shoes, but good enough to show you. And there's gonna be several albums on my show today where I describe them like that. So don't make this just came out, by the way, this deluxe 4-CD set. Don't make this the first Little Feat album that you buy. But if you're going to collect all the 70s ones, you'll see. It's about the middle. There's worse ones and there's better ones. Okay. 49 is Steve Hillage, Fish Rising. Steve Hillage, of course, was be the guitar player for Gong. This is a solid solo album from him. I got a handful of Steve Hillage albums, and he was good. This is the Japanese version, so if you like Gong, or he did so many things on his own, though, that even if you didn't like Gong, you could still be a fan of Steve Hillage. And number 50 is Weather Report. I don't think I've shown you a Weather Report album since the first one. I got them all from the early 70s to the early 80s. They're all pretty good. Again, I'm not sure if they got a 5-star album, but this is, I think, their most famous album. So there you go. You might want to make it your first choice. Okay, that's my top 50. All right, let's go 51 through 60. 51 through 60. There was a time I would have placed Bob Marley and the Wailers live much higher. This is one of the ones I played a lot when I was in college. All right, token in my room, drinking beer, listening to Bob Marley. Of course, this has the ultimate version of No Woman, No Cry, but the whole thing is pretty good. This was certainly the first time I ever heard Trenchtown Rock, but of course that was an old song by then. He recorded, I think, before he was on Island, but we loved it. That's 51. 52 is Tom Waits, Nighthawks, The Diner, which you can hear me talk about. This was a double album in my Tom Waits video. It's not live in concert, though. It's live in the studio, kind of like that Beach Boys album in the 60s, where he just has his friends come in and give it that live ambience. But the songs are great. Back when he was a motor mouth. 52, 53, here's one I can talk about for the first time. Guy Clark, Old Number One. And if you get this CD, you also get Texas Cookin', which is also good. Guy Clark was a country songwriter, probably, virtually unknown to rockers, but that's unfortunate because this is a great album, Old Number One. It's kind of in like the outlaw vein, and I'll have more country. That's another one. I looked for Emmylou Harris's. What did she do in '75? Was it Elite Hotel? Anyways, couldn't find it, folks. That's a good album too. All right, Guy Clark, Old Number One. 52, 53, 54. Very popular at the time on the radio, unlike Guy Clark, Ted Nugent. Now, guys, I'm a liberal, you know. I mean, I'm not a MAGA Republican, but I don't really talk about politics on this show because there's no place for it. And Terrible Ted, is a Republican. I don't care. I mean, I loved Ted Nugent when I was a kid. I still like him. He's kind of like Kiss to me, you know. It's like I'm not gonna leave these guys behind just because, you know, I think I've outgrown them. This is a kick-ass album. This was all over the radio. He was a huge star in America for the second half of the 70s. But his albums before this are not bad either. I've got virtually every one. So yeah, I'm a Nugent guy. And this is a great album. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 55. Wind on the Water. David Crosby, Graham Nash. This is a solid record. Sometimes when I listen to this, I think, you know, these burned out hippies are halfway through the 70s releasing music this good. I like most everything on this album. It may not be up to the, you know, Neil Young standard, but I like this better. You know, Steve Stills did an album called Stills this year, which I thought about putting on here. I could have put it, you know, but in my, you know, later between 60 and 70. But this is better. All right. This might be in fact, it is my favorite of the 3 albums that they made in the 70s. All right. All right, 56. Beautiful Loser. Bob Seger was almost like Ted Nugent. He had made many albums before this. I don't know if I've been including these on my shows or not, but I'm a Seeker guy. This is too solid though to pass up. Beautiful Loser, Black Knight's good too. Catmandu, Jody Girl, Traveling Man, his version of Nutbush City Limits. Weren't most of those songs on his live Bullet album the next year? They were on here first. All right, that's a solid record. Okay, this must be 56 or 57. Doobie Brothers, Stampede, the last of the Tom Johnston era. This is a great album. I don't mind my love of Johnston era Doobies. I don't know how this is considered hip or not, but it's still cool. Wow, there's not too many songs that were popular on the radio. Take Me in Your Arms. But the whole thing is good. This is from the Quadio box, which contains albums 2, 3, 4, and 5 by the Doobie Brothers. So there you go. Okay, for 58, this is Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen. That is the cover of it. This little BGO twofer gives you 3 of his albums, the band's albums. This with the Buck Rogers cover. That's the self-titled album. These are all good albums though. I like Commander Cody. I don't know how many of his albums I've shown you on my year list, but he's kind of like one of the last great bands of the Bay Area to come out of the 1960s. But his first album was in 71, so there you go. All right, 59 is, this is going to be a surprise, Utopia, another live. I really like the Todd Rundgren's Utopia album from 74. This is another prog album. It's live. It kicks ass. I've never heard a single song from this on the radio, so this is going to be like a sleeper, one of those, forgotten gems from the 70s that Matt's going to recommend to you. There you are. Utopia, another live. And another prog album is The Rotters Club by Hatfield in the North. Guys, I think I forgot to show you the first Hatfield in the North album in my 74 video. I don't remember now if I did. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. This one is almost as good as that one. Good enough to show on this show, right? The Rotters Club. More prog. Okay, and that was it, right? We're now on our last 10. Sweet. I finish this up in the 50-something minute mark. Okay, this is 61. Dictators. Go Girl Crazy. This is a pre-punk album, pre-Ramones album. These guys are also, kind of New York punkers from the mid 70s, this album should have been big. Look, the first song is called The Next Big Thing. It's funny, like the Ramones is funny. It's got Jewish humor, which, you know, sometimes Joey wrote in that manner with the Ramones. It's not as good as the 70s Ramones album, but you should have it anyway. All right? I love it. Master Race Rock. That's 61. 62, another kind of pre-punk. This is pub rock in England, though. Classic is Dr. Feelgood Down by the Jetty. This album is in mono. I'm a mono enthusiast. You didn't really hear albums in mono, but as late as 1975. So, I don't know if this probably would have been better in stereo or not, but I love the record, though. Down by the Jetty, Dr. Feelgood. That's 62. 63, I should have had this higher. Steve Hackett, Voyage of the Acolyte. Couldn't find it for a while, then I did. This is his first solo album. He's not left Genesis yet, but he would soon enough. And this is great prog. Ace of Wands is one of his, that could be my favorite song of his. All right, so, oh, you know what this just reminded me of, which I totally forgot until now? Chris Squire, Fish Out of Water. I should have shown you that today too. Oh well, if you're listening to this, I won't include this when I'm typing it up, you know, all my list of records, but I should have had Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water. I just now thought of it. It's just as good as this. There you are, Voyage of the Acolyte. So that's 63. 64, Eagles, One of These Nights. Lots of hits on here. One of These Nights. Too Many Hands is good. Journey of the Sorcerer, I think, was on some kind of TV show. Lion Eyes is one of their big numbers. So is Take It to the Limit with Randy on vocals. You know, another big Eagles album pre-Hotel California. All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 65. Waylon Jennings, Dreamin' My Dreams. I'd put this album on here if it just had Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way, which I love. Waymore's Blues is good. Let's turn back the years. The title track. And Bob Wills Is Still the King. That's a famous song. I like a lot of Waylon Jennings albums from the 70s. Is this the first one I've shown you? I don't think so. But anyways, he was consistent. The way that Willie Nelson was. All right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 65. 66. Can Landed. I don't know if I showed you Soon over at Bapaluma and 74. That's probably a better album than this. But I still like this. And this could be, as this Can's one of those bands again, the last album of this quality that they released. All right? There are better Can albums, but there are worse Can albums. I like it. Landed. All right. 76. Or not. I'm losing my place. Noise 75. Almost has the same cover as Noi, which I know I showed you. This is more krautrock. It's another strong album. Cool stuff you were not going to hear on U.S. radio. I don't know if British radio played this or not. But I like a lot of German bands from the 70s. But, you know, I only show you... Like, have I shown you guys any Faust albums? I like them too. You know, I just need to think of these things when I'm making the videos. All right, so... going to 70. This must be 68 then. Rush, Fly By Night. They did Crest of Steel this same year. This is a better album. This was their first really good one, I think. I mean, we loved this when we were kids. Okay, 69 is Caravan. Cunning Stunts. The last Caravan album of this quality. Although I do like Blind Dog at St. Dunstan's. So maybe I shouldn't say that. But not as good as some of the great Caravan albums of the past, but again, good enough to show you and to recommend on this show. And the last one, keep in mind I couldn't find Alice Cooper. War, Why Can't We Be Friends? This is a surround disc. It just came out. War were really a singles band. I loved their singles in the 70s. They were top notch. But some of their albums were pretty good too. And this is one of them. So there you are. That's my top 70. Ooh, this show was a long one. So until next month, and I'll pick it up with 76, Matt signing off.